And welcome back, everyone. We are here in SOLIDWORKS. We're working on this guide rod assembly, and at this point we are going to begin to uh, create some annotation. And we're going to start with adding item numbers to our exploded view. And the item numbers basically are what tie the description and part number in this table to the physical location of the part in the exploded view. And this goes pretty quick. So on our annotation tab, we have a set of two different what are called auto balloon and balloon commands. And these quote item balloons are going to point to an object, have a balloon, right, a circle with the item number inside of it. So how does that happen? So it happens with one click. I'm going to click auto balloon. And now I need to click the view that I want to add auto balloons to, and everything is auto ballooned. Kind of a mess, but I can edit and clean that up. So here in the and we did that earlier in some of our discussions. But here in this video, I want to highlight that there are some options. And right now, the option that's selected to organize these auto balloons is as a box outside the view. So let's try putting them all in one line. So we could use that, or we could use them over here, or we could use them on the right. And I think I kind of like them over here on the right as the option the best. I've still kind of got a mess that I have to clean up, but I think my mess is going to be easier to clean up if I just use this option and I have one line where all of my item balloons are tied to that one line. And so at that point, I think I'm ready to go. I'm going to accept this with a green check. And I can see that I have my balloons. The next task now is to align them up in a linear fashion that kind of is easy to read. And I'm going to suggest if they were lined up with where my cursor's going, that's going to be a nice target. So I'm going to click on one of the item balloons, and I can begin to see a very light gray dashed line that is called a guideline, and it highlights all of the item balloons are I'm going to use the term magnetically attached to it. So I simply can click and drag the endpoints. I think I'll see if I can. That looks sort of reasonable. And then let me get, yeah, that looks sort of reasonable. Okay. So now that I have a guide that I'm pleased with, I need to start adjusting both the arrow endpoints and where the item balloon itself shows up. So I like item 1, item 5 as the screw makes sense, but I want its balloon to be up here out of the way of my title block. Actually, now that I think about it, I think what I'm going to do is drag this item 1 down here. And if I want to move the arrowhead, there's a grip there. I can drag and drop that arrowhead on my part. So let's see. How about if we do this 3mm screw next? I clearly don't want to do that. I want to drag the balloon. So that's a spot that's okay. And I would prefer to not prefer actually, it's a standard. I don't want my item leaders to cross over themselves or another part. So I'll drag it to the bottom left screw. And now it's clear, clean. So I think the next item that I want to have is this item 4 for the flange bolts. And so I'll drag it down here Boy, I'm not sure why that item 5 seemed to move, but it did, whatever. So let's see, hit escape a couple times. Move item 4 to probably right about there. Let's hope that can make this work. And then I'm going to drag the arrowhead down to the bottom, and it does work. Notice it kind of progressing right through that area of air, and so it doesn't cross any parts. So then I'm going to move item 6. There we go. I'll move it up kind of in a spot about there. And I'm going to get this next item out of the way. Kind of move it further on up. So let's see. I'll move item 2 down a little bit and move its arrow so that it's clearly pointing to only the shaft. And I'm going to zoom in and notice that it turned into a dot. So if I drop that item on a surface, it will be a dot. If I drop it on an edge, it will be an arrow. And quite honestly, the goal here is simply to be what? Consistent. So I'm going to drop this here on that edge. And notice what I'm doing is I'm kind of trying to make the lines sort of parallel. I really don't care how parallel they are, but I don't want massively different angles of lines. Again, that just becomes a little more confusing for an end user to read. So I'm going to get this 8 out of the way. You can kind of start to see some of the techniques that are happening, and I'll move this 7 down, and I need to move the arrowhead to get it off of this other piece. And then I will move the 8 back down so it's about the same distance. Move its arrowhead so that I have something similar to parallel. I'll adjust this arrowhead, and my lines are starting to look sort of lined up. Okay, so that takes care of the automatic item ballooning, right? We only have one last step, and that's to put some text on our drawing and then to create a keynote. We'll do that in the next section, and we will wrap this up. Hope this is helping, and we'll see you in the next section.